Hi everyone, welcome to the 7th episode of Phenomenal Woman Wednesday. I am your host, Dr. Saran Nataki. Thank you for joining. Welcome to Power 365 Phenomenal Woman Wednesdays. This podcast will address issues ranging from what is a phenomenal woman, are you enough, community service, paying it forward, the manifestation of dreams with words and action, the power in being a woman, the men who support phenomenal women, fashion, and much more. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome back to Phenomenal Woman Wednesdays. Welcome to the 7th episode. Last week on episode 6, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Mrs. Sharon Reed as she shared her story on just being just an awesome woman, her phenomenal role in her family with respect to being just a guide and nurturer for her children, how she uplifts her family in prayer, how she navigates through life, and how she basically handles her challenges by just being grounded in the Lord. And she's just an amazing individual. If you haven't had an opportunity to go back and listen to episode 6, I really encourage you to do so. So there's some excellent nuggets of information to really help you in a situation that you might be experiencing that might be challenging, and even just in navigating life. She's really awesome. This week, I want to talk to you a little bit about who you might have in the front row seat in your life. So this is a really important topic because here on Power 365 Phenomenal Woman Wednesdays, the mission here is just to plant seeds of positivity. And as you're sowing seeds of positivity in your own life, it's really important to take inventory of those that you have surrounded yourself with. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that and, what that might say about you, where you are in your life, and the direction you may be headed. So the first thing I want to speak on is the power in words. I first want to visit that. There is such a tremendous power in the words that we say, even just to ourselves, not even speaking about, what we might say to our children, our friends, just what we say to ourselves on a daily basis. We get out of bed, and if we have the opportunity to really treat ourselves, we might meditate, take time out with God to really connect with the higher power and set our intentions for the day. And then after that, we might navigate the morning and, maybe something doesn't go quite right. And, what do you say in those moments when maybe you stub your toe, or maybe you, I don't know, you happen to check an email and it's not quite what you expected to hear in an email message? Do you indicate that it's going to be a bad day? Or do you really just take power of the day and say, you know what, I'm going to have an awesome day. Even though it may not look like it, I'm going to have an awesome day. So you really do set the intention with the power in your words. Also, what you speak over your future. If there are times when maybe at various points in times you haven't had as much money, in the bank, in your pocket, in your purse, in your wallet. And what do we say? I'm broke. So I never, I remove that terminology from my vocabulary, because the reality is I'm never really broke. I may not have at hand, I may have gone through whatever my allowance is, for that particular time and frame, but I still have a roof over my head. I have food to eat. I have an opportunity to, move about the world and conduct the business that I need to conduct and take care of my family and my kids. And so I don't declare being broke, because abundance, it really is a state of mind. And by putting that out there, maybe I'm setting myself up to actually be broke. So we don't want to, we want to take ownership of the words that we speak and how we really do dictate what's coming before us, and making certain that we're sowing seeds of positivity. When we have new ideas, we have interests, we have passions that lie within us, and we entertain them. sometimes, a lot of the time we end up talking ourselves out of it. We come up with reasons why, it may not work. We come up with reasons why it may not be practical. Well, not everything is seemingly practical. Not everything will present itself with a roadmap. It starts with an idea, an intention, and a passion. And so it's not our job to see the end at the onset. At the onset, it's our job to believe that it may happen. Okay. So that's the first thing I want to put on the table. The next thing I want to put on the table is once we are in a position where we acknowledge the power in our own words, who are you surrounding yourself with? Do you have a positive group of people around you, or do you have people who are constantly speaking negativity into your life? We have our friends, and it's really important sometimes to really take a step back and survey your friends to make sure that the company that you keep, that it's adding value to your life. You don't want to have people in your life that are constantly naysayers. So, for example, if you have an idea or you have a dream, it's, the other thing to keep in mind, you don't share your dreams with everyone. You protect your dreams. You protect your dreams from negative energy. You only surround yourself with, or you only present your dreams with the opportunity to be voted on. So if you know that you have a friend that's negative Nancy, you're not going to go and tell negative Nancy all of your dreams so that she can pour all of her negative energy onto your dreams. And I'll tell you what you can do with your relationship with negative Nancy, toward the end. But negative Nancy is not who you want to share your dreams with. You want to share your dreams with people who have a vote of confidence, who speak positive, who have demonstrated in their own lives that they're able to speak positively over their lives. They're not constantly speaking negativity into their lives, complaining about why they can't pursue their own dreams. They're actually out there doing it. They're trying, they're working, they're moving, they're exceeding the expectations just based upon believing in the dream. And these are the people that you want to surround yourselves with, because what happens is the universe will begin to work together with you. Once you have your positive crew, I call it my board of directors. So I have a board of directors where these are people who have demonstrated in their own lives as well as in my own life that they root for me. They root for my rise. And so I go to these people and I say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. This is what I'm planning to do. And that team of people, their role is to, yes, I'm here for it. I root for you. You can do it. How can I be of help? This is what you might consider doing, etc. It's not, there's no naysayer in that group. Now, there's a difference between having a naysayer, someone who just doesn't believe in your cause, or not necessarily that they don't believe in their cause, but they have other motivations for not really promoting you. Maybe they're unhappy with their own situation and they just really can't root for you. And so there's a difference between that individual and their station in life and the person who's just really, they really are looking out for you. And maybe they're not naysayers, so to speak, but they might say, hey, I think that's a wonderful idea. Now, keep in mind that there might be some obstacles along the way. How can I help you prepare for those? How can we, get over those hurdles? That's a different type of individual than the naysayer. So you want to make sure that your team of people, your board of directors, that they are positive people. They come with different skills. You don't want to have the same person sitting on the on the board. And I know this sounds very technical and very clinical and disconnected, but it really kind of happens very naturally and over time. It's not like you're going out shopping for these people, but if you are just really in tune with what your own goals are and the direction that you're headed, and you're practicing positivity in your life, these people will present to you. God will bring them to you, and you have to be open to receive what they have to offer. So that's one thing. The other thing to keep in mind is, what are the signs of a good friend? What are the signs of a good friend? A friendship is an exchange. So it's an exchange of information. It's an exchange of trust and support and just a will to promote goodness in your life overall. Some friends are more accessible than others. There are some that you might speak to on the daily basis, and there are some that you might not speak to for long stretches at a time for whatever reason or another. But when you sit down with that person, they're always in your corner and they always support you and you them. And that's still a good friend. What do you do if the relationship that you have or the friendship that you've held no longer works? Sometimes we have relationships that are more like friendships that are more like family, familial relationships. Maybe you grew up with the person. Maybe there's a long-standing relationship just based upon your life history together, and at some point you realize the relationship just really isn't working anymore. For whatever reason, there's been a disconnect. That person is become the negative Nancy. That person really just isn't on your team. There's not really any exchange that's taking place any longer. There's no value being exchanged between the two of you. And by value, I don't mean what can the person do for you? I mean that there is an exchange of information that fortifies you and fortifies them. It's give and take. Sometimes there's going to be stretches in your life where you're the rock for another person. And then at another point in time, they become the rock for you. You support one another and you're able to live by example on how to overcome various challenges. You're able to have a front row seat into their life in terms of how they've overcome certain challenges. And this exchange of information becomes kind of the fiber of your relationship, and it just gets stronger and stronger over time. Well, sometimes the exchange is just no longer taking place and there's just no longer any strength in the relationship, and it might even become a bit toxic where there's such an imbalance that it's no longer healthy to have that person in the front row seat in your life. So what do you do? Well, what I suggest doing in those situations, when you've taken inventory and you've identified a person or a set of individuals that it may not be good for you to continue such an intimate relationship. I'm certainly not saying that you have to throw away the relationship, but you reposition the person. They no longer have a front row seat. Perhaps they have, they're in the mezzanine section, so they're kind of, they have a balcony seat. They're not in the front row seat. So you have a history such that if they ever needed anything from you and you were able to offer anything that would be of help or of service, you're open to providing that. But at the same time, you're not going to compromise the direction of your own life by planting seeds of negativity. And that may seem extreme to some, but that's a very real situation. If you continue to have people in your life who are not positive and they're negative and they don't see the goodness in this life, they only see what's wrong with it. They don't see a future. They don't see a way out. They don't see how their lives can become abundant, and not just with things, but just abundance in terms of experiences, relationships, those kinds of things. They just cannot, they can't see a way out. It's, it becomes infectious. And you don't want to be infected with that bug. You want to be infected with something that's positive. You want to be infected with the person that is demonstrating in their life. Maybe they're a little further along than you. Maybe they have, you're actually stuck in a place where you know that it's possible. You know that it's for you, but you just really cannot tangibly grasp how to move yourself from here to there. And maybe just by keeping those people in your life, they show you how to move from here to over there. And over there is where you now are positioned to actually help someone else along. And so that's how it works. And we all come together in this network. So wouldn't you prefer your network to be positive and propelling you forward? And so for my own life, I really strive to keep those individuals in my life who are really spiritually grounded, acknowledge a higher power. That's really important to me because in tapping into that higher power, there's a power that there's the ability to move beyond whatever the circumstance may present. Even if I cannot see it, if I conceive it, I know this is really cliche, but if I conceive it, I can absolutely achieve it, but not through my own efforts. It's not through my own efforts. I need help, and I need help from the universe, and that help is only going to come from a higher power that's actually positioning all of those people and events in place to actually manifest what I have inside of me in terms of my own personal goals. That really aren't even my personal goals. They were given to me at birth and upon my creation. And so it's my job to identify what they are. And these people that I have in my life, I believe are helping me along the way, and I them. So it's an exchange. The other thing to keep in mind is that as you move through life, you have to be open to new relationships. So you have to be open to new relationships. And this is why. When you have you've set personal goals for yourself. So at 20 years old, you had a certain set of goals. At 25, they change. At 30, they might change. And they progress. They are progressive. And this is what keeps us alive and thriving by still seeking to achieve and move beyond our current circumstances. And so as we goal set and we move toward our goals in life, we cannot, it's like reading a book and never reading a new one. If you read the same book over and over again and you never open yourself to new information, you cannot grow. And the same thing happens with our friends. Our friends are there, and some of them will last us a lifetime, and some are meant not to last a lifetime. They might, again, be moved to the mezzanine section, the terrace. They might have that terrace seating, and that's totally okay. And what happens as that front row seat those front row seats become available, there will be new individuals that will show up with just the information that you'll just be like, wow, that's amazing. I'm on this journey and this is what I'm thinking. And I now have these interests, and here are these people that just showed up and they happen to have the same set of interests, and we all happen to come together. And that's not a coincidence. That's not by accident. That's actually by divine design. It's by divine design because what we put out, we attract. And so once you speak into reality what your goals are, the universe will come together to provide you just what you need to move forward. And so with that, that concludes today's episode. That had been on my mind just because, I have started out on some new adventures for myself, and I certainly have, it's an ongoing process where I'm really reevaluating those that are in the front row seat. And for the most part, I'm very, very proud of who those individuals are, and I've even come up with some new people that are just really amazing and awesome, and have just really opened my eyes in a new way that I never thought. That I never, just having a different view on life that I didn't have before. And it's really just setting me up to move forward on my new journey. So make sure that you have subscribed. You may subscribe on iTunes. You may also subscribe on SoundCloud. You may also follow me on my website at www.pwwr365.com, and also on Instagram at PWWR365, Power 365. Take care and have a phenomenal Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in to Power 365 Phenomenal Woman Wednesdays. I believe that every woman gifts the universe with her own strengths and unique characteristics. Simply because she is born, the universe benefits. Every woman is growing, learning, and evolving. On this channel, only positive seeds are sown, no matter how flawed the soil. Take care and have a phenomenal Wednesday.